everyone. And I got it correct this time. We have GSC. They've been here frequently. And I'm happy to say that we have one of the top-notch people who is in charge of one of our graduates, Matthew and Douglas. He's all graduate, Douglas. We worked around when we had our program. I'm sure you'd have joined us. But he's here to recruit you all. Yeah, like everyone else. Yeah, but here to talk about what is business operations now, job opportunities, and things for students who are about to graduate, and also co-op opportunities. Because as I said, there are new students, 19 students in our business class, and you guys take note which one you're interested in. Very good. Troy graduate, vice president, right? All right, so you can thank you all. Thank you for the food. Appreciate you all coming.
You don't have any food. Help yourself at any time. So, like Dr. Bramley said, my name is Matthew Roberts. I graduated from Troy in August of '04. It's been a minute. I've been with GSE for 17 and a half years now. I'm vice president, one of the managing partners. Douglas is out of our Nashville office, but has moved down to Mobile, and he's going to start running the department where I can move more of the operations side of the company now. So, but yeah, we're here to just kind of talk about our company, what we do, see what interests you guys, and just to kind of have like a roundtable discussion. If y'all have any questions, anything you want to ask us, we're an open book. Chances are, if you thought about it in surveys, we pretty much done it, or going to start doing that. Right now we are at, I think we have 93 employees in 3 different offices. Mobile is our headquarters. We have an office in Gulfport, Mississippi, and one in Nashville, Tennessee. So, and all 3 offices are growing. I mean, I'm sure y'all hear the same skills, probably gonna be about the same if you get them all together in a big project. But we are actively, looking to recruit, new surveys. So real quick, I just had to ask this question initially. I'll let you talk a minute. But who is a freshman? How many freshmen are in here? You, sophomores, juniors, seniors. Sorry. So just, anybody can speak. What are y'all kind of looking to do? Y'all looking to stay more in boundary surveying, topographic type surveying, construction? What's the, have y'all thought about it that far? Just trying to get through all the classes that you put in. But I guess any city.
I prefer boundary.
Boundary?
Yeah.
Just being out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
And then boundary and topo.
Yeah.
Construction's not too fun when you're hammering all day and carrying bags. Part of the job.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about that because from our standpoint, my background is mostly construction and industrial. We're using Leica scanners now. We got 3 of those, and Faro laser trackers for precision alignment, working in steel mills, manufacturing facilities, things of that. But we also do a lot of boundary alpha surveys. Douglas has got more of his experiences in that. So I kind of let Douglas explain some of his background too. And, like I said, this is not any real formal bulleted presentation. It's more just us talking.
My name is Douglas Chandler. I've got about 27 years experience. Started out, running, working my way up, and now I'm serving the lead for GSE. Been with them for probably about 1.5 years now. So moved down here probably about 3 months ago, something like that. Finally got settled into a house down in Daphne. Enjoying it. Great folks to work with, great place to be. My background, like I said, is mostly in the boundary, alpha surveys, construction safety, not on the high-end industrial like Matthew works with, like the aero buses and moss. Gosh,
Yeah, SSD, nuclear.
yeah, some of those big industrial sites, I've only been involved with one of those in my career. Down in Chattanooga here. I'm kind of getting acclimated, so to speak, into that world. But we're pretty diverse in everything we do, so, you know, you're not gonna be stuck doing GSE anyway. You wouldn't be stuck in any one particular field, you know, you have a broad variety and be exposed to a lot of different types of surveying, so that's one thing I do appreciate about GSE as well, is that diversity, so, we work all over the place, do surveys, work in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, all the way up the East Coast with scanning or at the ports and do a lot with the rails, the container crane, things like that, when ships bump into them and then scan so that they can figure out once they do get disturbed, what's going to take to fix them. And scanning, I need that accuracy. So scanning is a big portion of what we do. We have clients all over the country. We've worked in 33 states so far that I know of. And that's kind of the gist of my background is, you know, limited today and what we kind of do. But we are getting actually drones, getting into that. Last time we talked about, some of you may remember that. And I think we're finally to the point that we found a product that we're going to most likely acquire for the company. They'll have LiDAR on it and the ability to fly 500-acre sites and pick up 30-acre acres, even with canopy. So that'll be something new and something very interesting to get into. So we've got several guys that we're going to get their pilot's license. And we've got a couple of guys, or at least one that I know of, that is already licensed as an FAA pilot. With three, stuff like that. Yeah, so it's something, if you guys are interested in technology, we definitely are always looking and making sure we're keeping up with the times and everything else.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll say. Douglas is, he's taking on this, the whole drone concept, running with it. I'm not as familiar with it other than, you know, flying all over Maverick around, you know, taking pictures and trying not to crash it. That's how I understand it. But we're definitely, you know, looking into new technologies. We're not, you know, we have some of our total stations are, you know, I've got one that I still use and it works great and it's 16 years old. As long as they'll keep calibrating it, we'll keep using it. But, you know, we also are using a mix of total stations to Trimble and Sokia and Tata. You know, that's what we haven't, I haven't used LiDAR really since here. So,
Expensive.
yeah, I mean, it's worth it, I mean, but, you know, the new, you know, Tacon, in my opinion, Tacon, Sokia, and Trimble, they've been long for their optics, and I mean, everybody. That's just, like I said, my opinion.
I use most of it down here, and then, but my crews up in Nashville, they run Trimble, robotics, and GPS, and so digital level, we use Trimble compatible. So you guys work, I forget what you all use. There's a few different things.
Pretty much everything.
Duck Trimble, and we do have a set here, right? And we also have a GPS.
China, a guy in China, big supplier, that's a free GPS you have to buy.
Yeah, I think we talked about July, I said the last time we were here. I mean, what's the opinion of that? I'm just curious.
Yes, going to use that a lot.
I haven't been using it from an RTK, but static, particularly the class threes, particularly good.
Really? Cool. And that was, leads to the program. I've donated a number of, total station with data collectors
So they invested a lot into the program. Top Con, they yet to do something with that.
Yeah. It's tough. So I get Roger Wheeler.
Yeah. But can you give them an idea when you graduate and how you get to where you are right now?
Oh, yeah. Well, that wasn't easy. I can tell you that. You know, of the 93, 94 employees, whatever we have now, 87 or 80, 82 of them are engineering background or, you know, so we are still a small portion of the company. It was tough, you know, making that transition. But, you know, a lot of us, and I know I have several friends, I mean, Brett, for instance, and Hunter Smith, you know, they own their own, they have their owners of their own companies. So it wasn't so tough. I mean, you know, I just had to work to prove, you know, one, my loyalty to the company and show that I had the hard work. I'm not at all bragging about myself, but I did do. I mean, it was a lot of hard work for me. And I was able to develop relationship with clients that, you know, when you get a client, you want them to come to you every time. So repeat customers, you know, if you got 90% success rate on repeatability with customers, then that helps with the growth too. You know, because at the end of the day, had I not become a partner here, I could have went out on that. But it's been good here with GSE with the growth that we've had. And being a part of something that, you know, that you're helping to build, and we've been talking about opening other offices. So if that growth keeps happening, you know, it's just something that I've enjoyed. You know, but at the end of the day too, there's nothing wrong with just, you know, just coming in, getting a folder and going out and doing a job from home, go to sleep, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But that path that, I think I became a partner here in, it was 2014 or 2015. So I have some tenure with the company. And I'm not just a surveyor, you know, I don't just manage survey projects. I worked enough with all of our engineering group that I have about a dozen projects now that are multidisciplinary, where I'm managing the surveys, mechanical, electrical, plumbing design, civil design, structural design. So I'm involved with all of that from pretty much a field to finish. And let's say field to finish, not the field to finish and survey, but from survey to construction. So, and those range anywhere from just a small little restaurant up to, we're working on a huge project in Georgia now on the wildlife refuge. So they're building a new visitor center, and I'm the project manager for that entire project, where we had to actually go in. I had to reach out to geotech firms, environmental firms, get everybody on board, you know, get them subbed into us, and actually, and I'm not licensed in Georgia, so I had to find a Georgia licensed surveyor to do the survey for us, but I managed all of that. And that's an ongoing project. So, so it's just, I mean, I think I do a lot of that, plus I'm the operations manager, so all the hiring, HR stuff it falls on me as well, which is, you know, why we got Douglas on board, managing the survey department. Excuse me. And, you know, so that I can continue to help with the company grow. And, you know, it's not, maybe that sounds a little bad, I'm saying about me, but, you know, partners that we have, the other 4 partners in the company have been great. We've all supported each other, and plus, you know, hiring people like Douglas to help us with that growth has been invaluable. So, you know, from my standpoint, you know, it's continuing to grow, of course. It has not stopped.
Any questions yet? All right, Bert.
How many licensed land surveyors do y'all have at the company?
You're looking at.
Nice.
Grab both Alabama, or you have, I know you said you were from Georgia.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Florida. And full transparency, I've taken the Texas exam several times, so I think it's tough. But I'm gonna go do that. It's tough for me.
I'm just testing. That's all I need. I don't want to take more tests.
They can never get it where we can do the exam, or, you know, just go by comedy, like the engineers. That when they.
Can you give them some idea about the co-op opportunities? Because a lot of them, they will be looking for it, you know, one of the things was, temporary accommodation. Do you have anything like that for them?
We haven't in the past, Douglas and I were just talking, we just had a conversation about this actually, but that's something that we're gonna have to start. I mean, we know that that's a big deal, you know, because if we hire someone for the summer, you know, which is where I guess most of the co-ops will come in, just pretty much a summer co-op. It's hard to, you know, if you want to go to Nashville, I mean, co-op money's not gonna pay for a Nashville apartment. We have that. So we are gonna look into do that. And depending on, you know, if anybody in here wanted to do that, you know, just have to reach out to us. And we'll work out the specifics. So, because you'll get, you know, we use Civil 3D as our primary program. And we don't, I mean, I don't know how many people that y'all using Civil 3D here.
Yes, that they breathe out, yes, that's all they do.
So,
They do some cuts and also, but mainly civil.
okay, good. That's good to hear. We don't even own a license of microstation.
Yeah.
Station, so. But, you know, and when it comes to the scanning software, we started using, or we continue to use Cyclone. And I'm just familiar with it. I guess there's several other, was the Register 360, and they're coming out with something like Register, maybe something similar to that. But I'm self-taught on Cyclone, and I know how to run it for us back in some. They're trying to think of any other software that we use. Sorry, I mean, not that anybody here would use it, but, you know, when it comes to scanning, you would, we're now looking at a lot of the add-ons from Leica products into Revit. Do y'all do any Revit here at all?
We do have the license, but I don't think we do anything with it.
It's a challenge, it's a tough program, but that's mostly what all of our designers are going to. Is Revit. I mean, our entire company is using nothing but Revit now. So one thing that we're having a challenge with now, we're working through it, and, you know, making progress is taking scan data and survey data and bringing it into Revit, because that's what a lot of clients are looking for. You know, gone are the days of sending an engineer or an engineering intern or even a surveyor out to just measure a bunch of pipe and columns and things like that. It's, you know, go out there, scan it, put it on control for us, and let us bring it into the program. So that is I'm not gonna say that's a new challenge, it's kind of new to us with Revit, but it's something that we are, as a company, are trying to work through.
Do you go for the big contracts, like state contracts, or?
No state work really. It's I have a couple of clients that are DBA, disabled business, or minority owned, and we actually, you know, we just partner with them on a lot of our government contracts. When it comes to big contracts, it's really more on the industrial side, on the engineering side. We do a lot of engineering support. And that could be from, you know, boundary and topo surveys for, you know, all the way up to as-built at the end. And these are, you know, some of these facilities are total install costs in the billions of dollars, you know, so you're heavily involved with it from boundary and topo all the way up to construction, anchor bolts, you know, just full on as-built. So,
Any offshore jobs?
no offshore. We've looked into it a little bit, but, you know, once you get into offshore, in our mind, you got to stay pretty committed to that. And I don't know if ready to commit to that just yet. I mean, Douglas comes to me and says, let's give it a shot. We'll probably give it a shot, but I'm not gonna say no, but it's not something we're pursuing. I mean, and to be perfectly honest, it's hard to, to hire people right now. That's why obviously why we're here. It's not just us, every surveyor in, in the country that seem to have issues with, or I say issues, complications or challenges with hiring. And, because the way we do it is if we were to hire someone out of the program here, you wouldn't go straight into the office and be manager. This is just the way that Douglas and I have talked about this, and, you wouldn't be sitting there all the time in the office. You're gonna have to go out into the field, do the field work, be a part of the team, because, we have guys that work for us I got one, he's 20 years older than I am, but work circles around me. And I mean, he's just, this is what he is. But, I've worked with him in the field for so many years that, we've earned that respect with each other. And I can ask him to do anything and he'll do it. So the way that I like to see it done is you have someone new, getting in the field, working with the guys, and then coming back in and working with someone like Douglas or our drafting team to develop the drawing, do the calculations or whatever it is. It's not stuck in one place, because if you're gonna grow and, especially in a company like ours, we feel like you need to have that diversity. I need to be able to say, hey, we need to go do a lot survey, then, get it drawn up and kicked out, or hey, we need to go stake some piles for a construction project. Be able to do that, now, and like Douglas said too, to back up with that, is that if you feel, if you just want to do boundary surveying, boundary and topo, we'll try to accommodate that. But, but we are a very diverse company. Which is one of the reasons I haven't jumped into drones, because I've got, I'm focused on all the other things. Douglas is want to jump into drones, but he can, we can make it work. We're gonna make it work for sure.
It will create some efficiency, and with the industrial sites, when there's just some places that scanners are not gonna reach, where you can get up 400-foot high with those drones and get just as much scan data from the LiDAR as you can from a traditional scanner. If you've got towers or stacks, depends on what it is. We've got 200-foot tall stacks that you need to see the top of them, see the shape they're in, if they're doing upgrades to a facility or something like that. Then you've got good information, or just take an inventory for these folks. There's some clients that I've had before where they were a zinc plant in Clarksville, Tennessee, and they had us scan every piece of that 200-acre site to make sure that they knew where all the nuts and bolts, and that way they could tag it, and they had an inventory of what they were doing during an outage. And we basically built them a file so they could visually see. They could just be on a computer, or they could send it to Australia, their headquarters over there. They could see it and they could judge the condition of the equipment. They had an inventory of how old it was when we did the scan, and they would go in and tag it. And it's good for that purpose as well. So
that's
it'll have an industrial impact.
Was that scanning done on the ground or like
Both.
drone too?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Blue drones. This was in a previous location that I worked before I came to GSE in Tennessee. So that's why I want to get back into the drones, because it does have a lot of use, especially with the LiDAR. That opens up a lot and brings a lot of efficiency to topos and gathering information quickly. So.
Yeah, and that goes back to the Revit concept too, because now there's so much that can be done with point clouds and Revit, where, there's automatic modeling that will take place on a project when you use that data. And, it really, 3D, we can all, as surveyors, see 3D, because, if you can't see 3D as a surveyor, you're on if you need me, sir. But you know, you can see in 3 dimensions, you know, it helps with the data processing. So when everybody that's going to using Revit and, you know, just any of the AutoCAD 3D, Plan 3D, any of those other programs that can bring in point cloud, it helps everyone see where clashes are. You know, traditionally, you go to build something on an existing facility, and I mean, it doesn't matter if it's it's the same idea of topographic surveying, just in a, you know, a 3D, you know, point cloud concept. But, you know, it just helps with clash detection of new, if you're putting in new piping and things like that, you can route the pipe and say, okay, here's the scan, we're going to miss it, or we're going to hit it, what do we do now? Type of deal.
And you're collecting photogrammetry as well, so you've got a picture that is right there, you know, on coordinate, you know, whether it's a localized coordinate system or state plane. So
How many slides do we have?
we need to see.
Picture run, loading. Well, I mean, we all know what we look like, so. So this is a cool project that we're working on now, that they just announced. I don't know, probably 6 months ago, we've been working on this, where they're gonna move Mobile Regional Airport. If any of y'all are familiar with the Mobile area and where Mobile Regional Airport is now, it's in the worst location. So they're moving it out to I-10 at the Brooklyn complex, and we've been assisting one of the general contractors in the airport authority out there with topographic surveying, boundary surveying, which they own everything for miles around. So that's it's pretty simple for that. But this is a cool project that's going to be ongoing once they get the funding in place. And we're heavily involved with that. It's, you know, 2 miles from the office.
Airbus is out there.
Yeah.
That's a big client of ours.
You know, Airbus is out there, what they may have. You know, they're
Yeah,
expanding.
boats outside of the airport itself.
Is those office in downtown Mobile?
It's on Azalea Road off of the airport. Are you
On the
familiar
west
with
side
the
of
area?
65.
Yeah, I'm from Mobile. I'm trying to, because I think I've seen y'all's office, but I can't remember where.
Well, we had a tin can office on Moffett Road for a while, and then we moved to, you know, where Davidson High School is? It's just down from there.
Okay.
It's 15,000 square foot building right there on Azalea. This project was cool. I actually helped build this one, lay out all the columns, and then all of those crane rails up top. We actually had to go and take an inverted rod, mini prism, and put marks on top of, shake it. We had to put that on the trusses. So we were in a man lift and a guy down on the ground taking shots with an inverted prism so that they could attach the crane rail to it. If you want something that'll make you nervous, let them put a crane up there and then we'll see if it's gonna work. After you've been thinking, yeah, that was an interesting project. This is actually really cool. Now we've done a lot of work for NASA. So out at Stennis Space Center, they have the test stands where they actually test the rocket, the Artemis rockets. Those are tested here in Mississippi before they were barged all the way around to Kennedy. And what we do with this, what we've done with this is checking the alignment of the structure after they do a test. And that's done both with our laser tracker and standard regular tool stations and digital levels. So, and like, you know, some of these targets right there, we've actually, you see that black and white target, you know, something that those guys, the NASA guys will sit back and they'll check the alignment when it goes in. So this too, in addition to this, we just, we're looking at securing a contract with them to help with the International Space Station capsule now. So that's, this project right here has actually been turned into a really cool project. So this is one that Douglas was talking about, the pictures aren't showing up, but we actually went in, it's a container crane, you've seen these big 4 container cranes that lift up, you put one container ships. That, we actually went in, scanned this crane, gave them a report of what was out of tolerance. And then when the engineer that we were working for, he developed a repair. We went back in and basically set up as they were bending the boom back. So basically the boom, those things are like 200 feet long. Ship hit it, scared everybody, whatever. And then they did their assessment. Well, it bent the boom. So they brought a guy in with a giant torch and he started heating this boom. And it's 10 feet tall. So he's heating the boom, and as he's heating them, they're pulling on the jacks and stuff. We're just continuously taking shots until it gets into a line. So I wish we actually had that picture. That would be cool to see. And this is one of the steel mills. You know where SSA is, I'm sure. So we have this ongoing. We actually have guys there today. So that project has been an ongoing deal for us. And that's one that is one of those types of field finish. I'm not the project manager. My expertise is on these type of projects is alignment, layout, things like that. Not so much the ins and outs of how you make steel. I know how it works, but I can't tell you how to design for it. But this one is this was one that we've surveyed done all the boundary surveying, all the topographic surveying, layout, back checks, things of that nature for all of the contractors out there. So pretty much an owner's rep for this one. These road projects that we talked about here is more, Mobile County has a thing called the pay-as-you-go program. It's a tax-funded program where they will award contracts to engineering firms. They go in, survey, design roads, and then they go out for bid. So it's just their goal is at some point to have every dirt road in Mobile County paved. I mean, I probably will never see that happen, but that's between that and we've done a little work for AlDOT, but we haven't done as much work with these projects recently as we have in the past. But this was on here to show you the type of diversity, take you from a NASA job to road project, USSA steel project. Sorry, folks. I didn't realize. Back up on fun, I guess. So the industrial, residential, commercial, I mean, that kind of covers everything that we do in a nutshell, including government. So like I said, we had that one day that you were asked to go survey a lot, subdivision, wherever.
Next day you're at NASA.
Next day you're at NASA, and the next day you're on the 5,000 acre country. It's just, we are not a company that is going to stay pigeonholed into one thing. We've seen it too much, and everybody's talked about it, recession, downtime, things like that. That's what's kept us going diverse. Because typically you get on some of these industrial projects, once they start, they're 2 to 3 years of work. Not fully for us, but in that 2 to 3 year time frame, you're spending a lot of time out there. You may go out there every day for 2 weeks, and you may not go out there for 2 months. But it's some type of work that you can do and over the next 2 to 3 years. And that's why we like to have that diversity. But, at the same time, like Douglas was saying, most of the Nashville stuff that goes on up there is small, not small, it's large, boundary, topo, alta surveys, and with a little bit of, construction stakes. Mobile and Gulfport is mostly construction stake and industrial. But that's just where my expertise is and where I have a lot of clientele. So I know we threw a lot at y'all, so is it a little like mind blowing, different questions? here to answer any questions y'all have.
How often would you say your field crews stay overnight somewhere doing a job?
Right now, it's, I don't know, probably 25%.
Something like that. I've been bringing my guys down from Nashville to work on some projects in Florida because we're just spread it out so widely, and then with the industrial appliance, they could call up and say, hey, I need you out here now. And pretty much.
That actually happened on Labor Day, so I was actually, one of those crane rail jobs, I was on that Labor Day, 16-hour day.
Just because it was down.
Mhm.
So, yeah. They do travel, but, we're not gonna ask you if you do to stay, out of town too. Try not to keep you out of town too very long because we know you have families, you have a life to live, and so we try to limit that and spread the load around between the guys so that nobody's getting stuck out of town away from their family too terribly.
Yeah, we're definitely, we, in the past probably 7 or 8 years, we travel a lot more than we had in the past. And, we have a couple of guys that they don't want to travel, and that's fine. That's, we're not one that's gonna hire you and then send you on the road for, 6 months. Now, if we have a job and that's what you want to do, hey, I'm all for it, that's up to you.
I've got the potential for one to be released, that Arkansas job for 22 weeks. We're gonna have to rotate folks out so they don't get burned out. And it's the middle of nowhere, Arkansas, so.
Yeah, that one's over on that one's in the middle of nowhere. But it's one of those projects too that you're, 50, 60-hour weeks, if that's what you want to work, it'll be there. And if you don't, you just have to tell us, because we're not ones that are gonna put you in a position where you're gonna be happy. Because if you're not enjoying this, you gotta stay, or do something different. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way, that's the way it is. That's the way I view it, Douglas, and I both view it the same way. It's surveying's not easy, it's, because the way it is for us is if you, or any client, you make a mistake, and, that could cost them a lot of money.
What was the most expensive this thing?
For me,
No, for the on record.
no, I don't know, I can tell you what it was for me.
Not gone through that yet.
I had one. We used our insurance, but it was $235,000.
Oh my gosh.
So it happens.
I mean, that's why it's always good. Don't ever be embarrassed to have a second set of eyes on what you calculate.
And I'm
Third
just,
set.
yeah, that happened. I was the one that had to go talk to the client and take the ass chewing. Why did this happen? And when you do that, you feel about that tall. And it's, so don't think that you're ever too good to not make a mistake, because if you are, karma will find a way to kick you into that. Yes. I didn't think I was too good, don't get me wrong. It was just one that I was like, okay.
What went wrong for that to happen? Was it like?
It was a scaling issue. And we have a policy in our office now that if we're supplied documents, I don't care if it comes in bars, that's what we're gonna survey in. Because it was a conversion from metric to state plane feet. And if anybody knows anything about the Mobile area, if you convert from metric to state plane US survey foot, there's about a 3-foot easting and a 8/10 northern difference. And that's how it happened. And it sucked.
And now we're going to international fee.
Yeah, now, in 2025, we're going international. Is that right? So I went to the Florida Surveying and Mapping Conference. Took a couple of classes there.
So you'll pin it off. You want to go someday?
Nothing else we could do.
And I'm gonna write a check.
I could live with that check. I can assure you how bad that felt. But the thing about that too, let me go on the silver lining to that, is it actually, the client, that happened to, they hired us, and I bet I've done, and since then, I've done $500,000 to $750,000 worth of work with them. And they even told me, their vice president reported me aside and told me if I'd handled it any different, they would have went sideways big time. But because there's a reason people pay insurance. They never want to hit it, but so, yeah.
Can you give them an idea of what the perks that you are offering the employment package?
I mean, perks, you get, we'll pay for all of your licenses, all your community education, all of the hours spent, we usually pay for those, really. I think you get 2 weeks of vacation after a year, and add another week after 5 years. 401k is, we match 50 cents on the dollar up to 6%. For single coverage insurance, we pay for that. And then it's basically a 50% cost to you for, spouses or dependents. All travel, unless the project requires per diem, we pretty much just reimburse you for everything. Give you a credit card, ask you to be smart about it, but we're definitely not hawks when it comes to that, unless you're staying in the Ritz at $800 a night. Then we're gonna have to talk. But we do put a lot of trust in everyone to just make the right decision, when it comes to expenses. We have company vehicles available, for all the field, all the traveling. If you use your own vehicle, we reimburse mileage. I mean, I think a lot of this is pretty standard for what you've probably heard in the past, but,
All of our field guys have their own vehicle.
Yeah.
That they take home and drive, and this fuel, the company covers the fuel on it, so saves, I can save you a good chunk right now, especially in gas driving back and forth between the office and the house, so.
yeah, we're definitely not, like I said, we're not hawks with a lot of that stuff. As long as things are upfront and we're transparent with something, if you're like, hey, I need to use a truck to go to church or go pick up some furniture, yeah, that's great, I mean, we're pretty open with a lot of that stuff. We're not strict on that at all, because it's, with surveying, being on the field every day, it's one of those things that when you go home, you don't want to have to worry about anything. It's just, take a company truck, you go home, you don't have to, won't expect you to wash your vehicle or anything like that, take it to drive through a car wash. So that will be something that would definitely come, as you're there, because you will, one of the things that we have y'all do is spend time, like I said, in the field initially, transition to the office, but there will be times that you still have to go out and meet clients and meet with the guys, because the one thing about it is even though some of these guys are maybe 20 or 30 years older than you, they will still lean on you for advice, for your expertise, because you're getting this degree for a reason, get your license, that's what everybody's striving for. But there are a lot of things that y'all can bring to the table. I mean, even me, we talk about the drones, and like I said, I don't know much about it, other more details. So, so y'all are in a good position. I know we're gonna have to cut it short in just a minute, but
In terms of numbers, what are you looking at for co-op opportunities and students who are about to graduate? How many are you looking for?
they could put one in each office right now, for sure, co-op or full-time. So if somebody's interested in Mobile,
I'll do a Nashville go for you.
any of those offices, if y'all are interested. It's, will help with, depending on where you have to move from, we can help with relocation expenses too. Don't have an issue with that. No. There's plenty of perks, but if people start having interest, they just have to reach out to me. We'll work through specifics for sure. Because we could, it would be good to have it at least, one Mobile, one Nashville. To go for it, we could benefit from too, but, the priorities we can go to those offices. because what we're seeing right now, we're to a point of having to turn away work because we just don't have people. And that sucks, but.
Did y'all do, sorry,
No, you're fine, go ahead.
did y'all do any work at, M&S and Calvert?
I did the original boundary survey on that. I was the one that actually, myself and three other guys, so I signed and sealed that survey.
Oh, cool.
So when they had to do an alta survey on that one after they built it too, and I signed and sealed that one too, to split that one up. That property that's a mess. Those are beautiful pieces of property, but yes, AM&S, so do Comfort, we both share the same site, the stainless and carbon side. And we've got ongoing engineering projects up there.
Any questions? Anybody got anything?
For those trucks that you give your employees,
Yes, sir.
sorry, their equipment, what's the standard equipment that are on them? Or do they have to go to the office and find the equipment and then go back?
No, if they're gonna be in the field, even 50% of the time, it's not good.
Stations, those guys we don't see them. We have the ability that everybody has a laptop. They have the ability to log into our server and get the information they need. And most of them can have the ability to count their own things and their own things on the fly in the field. Or we can do it for them and then they can just reach out and grab it off of there. And then they can just download it into the equipment, so.
Technology has made it so easy.
Yeah, doing it in the office.
I mean, like Trimble, you can connect to their business, was it Trimble Business Centers?
Yes,
TTC. You can do that. Plus now, if we need to send text files or, survey files, all of the guys have jump drives that plug into either the iPhone or the Android. You just put an app on there and it pulls it out of your email, just on the jump drive and plug it into the data collector. It makes it so much easier.
That way they can get us, if they start them off on a boundary first, or the boundary portion of the boundary survey, once they locate all the evidence that they can find, they can send it back, we can start calculating it, and before they're done with the job, we can send them information back with a calc boundary to set property for us. That's where some efficiency is too, with pricing your projects, is being able to, that technology allows us to do that.
Any more questions?
Oh, is it a lot of one-man survey crews or two-man, three-man?
About 50-50, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're really pushing to go have everyone with a robot until the station. Because that's how I started out, and then we got to two-man crews and then go back to a one-man crew now. But it's a mix. Some of the job sites we go on will not let you have it for safety reasons. So,
Everybody's stocked, fully, their trucks are fully stocked with the robotics, the GPS, base rover, got digi levels, so. I know Jeff, his truck is always packed to the brim, you can barely put a coat in the back of his truck.
got an expedition, you can only sit in two front seats.
So we've actually, the new trucks that we just bought are the F-150, what is it, the crew cab?
Oh, yeah, four-wheel drive. Yeah, we're starting to really push to get everything four-wheel drive.
And the
Too
top
many
on
times you
it.
have to go yank somebody out. I've had to pull out. But, yeah, so everything will be a fully stocked truck. You got everything you need. And we're definitely not opposed to trying something. Yeah, feel like that is something that can help us grow. And that's another thing too, come on board and you're saying, hey, I want to jump into a rail survey, looking at, CSX or whatever it is, if you got some, I don't care if it sounds like a harebrained idea, throw it out there. It sticks to the wall and, we can do it. We'll invest in it. We're not a company that pushes away like that. We're definitely looking to grow and diversify.
All right, well, thank you all very much. Thank you for coming. We do appreciate it.
Thank
If
you.
you all need contact, please do that ASAP so that you all can establish the communication and the logistics, especially those who are doing their planning to do co-op opportunities, contact them as soon as possible. Thank you very much again.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And these guys will have to go on next
They
class.
gotta go to.
They have those tickets for them.
Yeah, come get all the stuff so we can take it back.
So.
And if any of y'all are ever traveling in Mobile or Nashville and want to just really buy outfits or something like that, Douglas is